Ever feel like the weather's got this, like, wild side?
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're diving deep into Typhoon Ewiniar,
Okay.
a 2024 storm that honestly kind of threw everyone for a loop,
Yeah.
even the experts, you know?
It was a weird one.
It really makes you wonder, can we, like, ever really predict Mother Nature?
Ewiniar was, well, it was definitely a case study in the unexpected.
Yeah.
It challenged a lot of assumptions about, you know,
Right.
how these powerful storms form, when they form,
And
where they form. Yeah.
Okay, so picture this.
Mm-hmm.
It's May 2024, and the Pacific typhoon season is, well, it's running late.
Right.
And you might think, okay, late start, sleepy season, right?
Yeah, you'd think so.
That's where Ewiniar's like, hold my drink.
Boom! Here I am.
Makes this grand entrance, you know.
Not in the usual spot either.
Right.
Typhoons, they usually like to brew up in those warm pools near the equator.
Right, like clockwork.
Yeah, exactly. But Ewiniar was like, nope. Decided to form way out southeast of Palau.
Oh, wow.
Almost 450 kilometers. Defying the usual, like, script.
Talk about being fashionably late to the party, A&D showing up in the wrong outfit.
Right.
You'd think those conditions, like, come on, weak storm.
You'd think so, right. But location isn't everything. It's more like it's more like baking a cake. You need the right ingredients.
Okay.
And for a typhoon, those ingredients are things like warm ocean water, at least 29 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And calm upper level winds.
So like a perfectly heated oven.
Yes.
And no drafts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We call that low wind shear. It lets the storm like build without being ripped apart.
Okay.
Winiar had those conditions in spades, even in that
crazy location.
Even in that unexpected location, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the ingredients for a storm. Yeah. But Ewiniar still took its sweet time, you know.
It did.
Like brewing, you know. This thing was the 5th latest start to a Pacific typhoon season on record. What's the deal with that? Is that like normal?
It's unusual. It has scientists paying attention.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, we can't pin a single storm right on climate change.
Right.
Ewiniar's late arrival, it might be a piece of a bigger puzzle.
Okay.
We're seeing more and more of these weird out of season typhoons.
Out of season.
Yeah. And that has everyone wondering, like, are the rules of the game changing?
Wow, the rules of the game are changing.
Yeah, it's something we're really looking at.
So Ewiniar finally gets its act together,
Right.
forms into a tropical depression, gets its first name tag, Igon, which, you know, kind of fitting name, right? Meaning mariner's compass,
right?
Given where this storm was headed.
Exactly.
It's like someone gave it a map and a mischievous grin.
Yeah, like, go on, get out of here.
Yes.
Have some fun, kid. Because this storm was about to play hopscotch across the Philippines. We're talking 9, count them, 9 landfalls.
That's a lot of landfalls.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You've got our attention. So let's break down how this island hopping adventure actually impacted the storm's strength.
So it's fascinating. At first, all those landfalls, they acted like speed bumps.
Okay.
You'd think, right?
Yeah.
Hitting land would weaken a storm.
Right, makes sense.
You'd think.
Like, oh, mountain, time to weaken.
Exactly. But then Ewiniar reaches Lamon Bay.
Okay.
This relatively small body of water. And it's like hitting the gas pedal.
Really?
We call this rapid intensification.
Rapid intensification, okay.
Yeah.
And this is where things get really interesting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the satellite imagery
shows this like crazy pinhole eye forming.
Yes.
The storm's eye, usually it's round, it's wide.
Right.
This shrinks down
tiny
to this tiny pinpoint. It's a visual clue that Ewiniar was becoming incredibly focused and powerful.
Incredibly powerful, yeah.
I imagine it like squeezing a water hose.
Oh, okay.
Same amount of water, but you force it through a tiny opening.
Yeah.
Makes it way more intense.
That's a great analogy. And unfortunately for the Philippines, that meant a huge amount of energy concentrated in a smaller area.
Oh, no.
Leading to some pretty significant impacts.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's heartbreaking, really.
Yeah.
While the Philippines, they bore the brunt of Ewiniar's, initial fury.
Initial fury, yeah.
Yeah, it was about to take another unexpected turn.
Really?
This time impacting Japan.
You're saying it wasn't done.
Not even close.
After 9 landfalls.
9 landfalls.
You'd think it would be ready for a nap.
You would think, right.
Yeah.
Ewiniar starts moving over cooler waters, weakens a bit.
Okay.
Gets downgraded from a typhoon to a severe tropical storm.
Okay.
Almost like it's calming down.
Okay. Right.
Like, okay, things are chilling out.
So Japan's probably thinking, like, okay, we dodged a bullet.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
We're in the clear.
Fine.
Except Ewiniar decides to have an identity crisis.
Okay, wait, hold on.
This is where it gets good.
What?
This is where it goes from a typical typhoon to something straight out of a weather textbook.
Really?
In the weirdest way possible.
Okay, you gotta walk us through this.
Okay.
What kind of identity crisis are we talking about?
All right. So as Ewiniar approaches Japan, it runs into this wall of air. It's called a stationary front. Basically a clash of warm and cold air just hanging out over the region, like chilling.
And I'm guessing these fronts don't play nicely with storms.
They do not.
Yeah.
They are notorious for amping up storms.
Really?
Giving them a second wind.
Oh, wow.
That's exactly what happened to Ewiniar.
No kidding.
Gets re-energized, sets its sights on Minamata Chijima.
Now, for those who haven't, Googled it yet,
right.
That's a tiny island.
Tiny.
Southeast of Okinawa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Small island.
Small island.
Gets slammed.
Yeah.
Winds over 100 kilometers per hour.
What?
Torrential rain.
Go ahead.
And here's the kicker.
What?
Ewiniar wasn't even a typhoon anymore.
Wait.
What?
It was crazy.
So if it wasn't a typhoon, what was it?
Right.
Some kind of weather Frankenstein?
You could say that it had transitioned into an extratropical cyclone.
Extra what?
Extratropical cyclone.
Okay.
Which is basically a storm powered by the temperature differences.
Okay.
Between those air masses we talked about.
Okay.
Right. Like a weather system.
With a split personality.
Oh, so it's like a hurricane trying to be a blizzard.
Yes.
At the same time.
At the same time.
No wonder it was so unpredictable.
Right.
Make up your mind.
And to make things even weirder, before going full extratropical, it briefly flirted with becoming a subtropical cyclone.
Oh, no way.
It was a whole thing.
So it's like this hurricane.
Yeah.
And it can't decide if it wants to be a blizzard or not.
Exactly.
That's the kind of identity crisis we're talking about.
That's Ewiniar in a nutshell.
The storm just couldn't make up its mind.
Nope.
No wonder the forecasters were scratching their head.
Pulling their hair out.
Being like, what is going on?
Totally. It's a great example, though, of how, complex these systems are.
Right.
Ewiniar threw everyone for a loop.
It really did.
But this wasn't just, a fascinating weather event. It had real-world consequences.
It did. So after this wild ride across the Pacific, let's talk about the impact.
Okay.
We know Ewiniar hit the Philippines hard, obviously.
Yeah.
But what about, the human cost in Japan?
So in Japan, the storm was responsible for, tragically, at least 8 fatalities.
8 fatalities?
And widespread disruptions, Remember, the Philippines experienced, Ewiniar's raw power as a typhoon.
Right.
But Japan felt the effects of this strange, hybrid storm.
Right.
Fueled by that stationary front.
Right. So it's 2 completely different storms.
Yes.
Wearing the same name tag.
Exactly.
Just to really confuse everybody.
Yeah, just to keep things interesting.
Wow.
And the impacts were different, too.
Okay.
While the Philippines saw, the devastating winds and those, concentrated impacts from the pinhole eye.
Right.
Japan experienced more widespread heavy rainfall, flooding, strong winds across a much larger area. Yeah.
So not just that concentrated, pinpoint.
Exactly.
Wow. Our research mentioned, significant damage in both regions.
Oh, yeah.
From the Ewiniar.
Absolutely.
Can you kind of break down, what we're looking at?
Yeah. So in the Philippines, the agricultural sector was hit particularly hard.
Okay.
Losses estimated at over 85 million.
Wow.
And the cost of rebuilding damaged infrastructure was substantial.
Yeah.
Almost 950 million.
So adding those together, you're talking about a total economic impact exceeding 1 billion.
That's right.
And that's just in the Philippines.
In the Philippines.
According to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council.
Right.
I mean, it really puts the economic vulnerability of these regions into perspective.
Absolutely. And we have to remember, those are just the initial estimates.
Right.
The long-term economic and environmental impacts can take years to fully understand.
Years to fully understand, yeah.
Years to really grasp the scope of...
And it wasn't just like the immediate storm surge and the winds. We uncovered reports of a pretty significant oil spill in Aklan, Philippines.
Yes. That oil spill was a secondary impact of Ewiniar.
Right.
A stark reminder that a typhoon's reach, it extends far beyond its immediate path.
Oh.
A ship carrying oil was damaged during the storm, leading to a spill that impacted marine life.
Of course.
Coastal communities. The cleanup and ecological recovery from an event like that can take years.
A true ripple effect.
A ripple effect, yeah.
The Ewiniar really highlights how interconnected our world is.
It does.
And how one event can spiral into something much larger.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
It's a lot to process.
It really is.
The economic fallout, the environmental damage, the human cost.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, are we equipped to handle these kinds of curveballs from Mother Nature?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Barely is.
Ewiniar's really, through as a curveball.
Totally.
And it has researchers, policymakers, everybody's rethinking how we prepare for the unexpected.
Because this wasn't just a powerful storm.
Right.
It was a powerful reminder that our climate is changing.
Yes.
And with it, the rules of the game.
Absolutely. As our planet warms, we're seeing these shifts in weather patterns, ocean currents, atmospheric conditions. It's like we've shuffled the deck.
Okay.
And now we're dealing with a whole new hand.
The new hand.
Of weather events.
And some of these events, like Ewiniar, pushing the boundaries.
Pushing boundaries.
Of what we thought was possible, right?
What we thought was even, possible,
Late formation, rapid intensification, hybrid transitions.
It's like
Mother Nature took the typhoon playbook and was just like, nope, we're doing it my way now.
Exactly. Rewriting the rules as we go.
Rewriting the rules as we go. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
The more we study these events, the more we realize how much we still don't know.
Exactly.
So much we don't know.
We're constantly refining the models.
We are.
Improving forecasting.
Right.
But there's always that,
always a bit of mystery.
The element of unpredictability.
You got it.
So where does that leave us?
Right.
If we can't always predict these extreme events, how do we prepare?
That's where the focus needs to be, I think, on building resilience.
Building resilience?
Yeah, it's about, strengthening infrastructure, improving early warning systems.
Okay.
Having plans in place to respond quickly.
Right.
And effectively when disaster strikes.
Right, because it's not a matter of if.
Exactly.
It's a matter of when. It's a matter of when. Yeah.
And maybe just as importantly, understanding.
Yes.
We're all in this together.
We are all connected.
What happens on one side of the Pacific doesn't stay on one side of the Pacific.
Exactly. It's about, global cooperation, sharing knowledge, supporting, vulnerable communities on the front lines of climate change.
On the front lines of climate change, absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Typhoon Ewiniar.
It's
clear this wasn't just a storm.
No.
It was a wake-up call.
A wake-up call to respect the power of nature.
Yes.
To really acknowledge the changing climate. And to prioritize proactive preparation over just reactive response.
Right, being ready.
Being ready.
Instead of just oh, shoot, now what?
Exactly.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
When you may be gone. But the lessons it taught us about the interconnectedness of our planet and the increasing unpredictability of our weather.
It's the new normal.
That's here to stay.
It is.
That's a wrap on today's deep dive.
Fascinating stuff.
Stay curious, stay informed.
Absolutely.
And let's all work towards a more resilient future.
Couldn't agree more.